There is a taboo. You guys know what taboo is? Taboo is something, a word or phrase that you're not allowed to say. It's forbidden, okay? But at church, for a pastor, when he's giving a message, there is a taboo. There's a subject that a pastor is not allowed to speak at the podium, okay? And it's about offering. We know what offering is, right? Offering is 헌금 in Korean. And because offering is such a sensitive issue, the pastors are not allowed to mention it directly at church. But here's the thing. There's some interesting fact about offering at church, okay? Listen to this for a second. We all give offering at church, right? On every Sunday, we prepare offering and we, put it in this basket right here. And we're like, okay, this is offering. But here's the thing. This is the fact, okay? This is the data for the church about offering. So, you guys know what tithe is? Tithe, 11조, okay? Tithing is 11조 in Korean. Anyway, but tithing, only 5% of those who come to church on Sunday give tithing, okay? Tithing, directly mentioned in Bible, is something that we all should give on Sunday, but only 5%, not 50, for 5% of people coming to church on Sunday give tithing, okay? An average per week about offering per person is about $17, which is about 400,000 Vietnamese dong, okay? Listen to this for a second. Average per person about offering is about 40만 동 per week. You think that's a lot of money, right? 400,000 dong in every week per person. That's a lot of money, right? Imagine this for a second. For our church, okay? For our church, about 350 to 400 people attend service every Sunday, okay? And for some, they're rich people. And for some, they're not so rich people either, okay? For 400,000 dong every week is not a lot. Imagine this for a second. $17 per person. It's less than $20 per person, okay? If you give tithing, this $17 included tithing, okay? If you give tithing, you don't just give $17 per person. You give more than $17, okay? When people usually give 11조 in church on Sunday, especially whether you're in Korea or Vietnam or in the United States, you give about at least $50 to some more than $1,000, okay? So you make about a couple hundred million dong. But if you average it out to every person at church, $17 or 40만 동 is actually very little. What does this indicate? This indicates that not many people are giving offering. And the interesting is, the offering rate every year is declining. In other words, people are giving less and less offering. In fact, offering is the least favorite topic of the sermon. Every time when a pastor gives a sermon about offering, they're like, okay, I'm done today. There are some who actually walk out when a pastor begins to deliver a message about offering because they don't want to hear about it. The reason why this is happening, because people don't trust the church anymore. Because there has been so many issues regarding how people use the offering, the money, the finances at church, or there has been some, cases where the pastor steals money from church. Because since incidents has happened a lot of times, people just do not trust the church anymore. And also, the church goers increased while believers decreased. Do we know the difference between churchgoers and believers? Churchgoers are those who come to church without faith. They just come to church because they're used to coming to church. but there's no faith in them. Believers are those who actually believe Jesus Christ, who actually believe Jesus as their Lord and Savior. They actually have faith in them. But when I said the churchgoers increase while the believers decrease, it means there are a lot of people who come to church without believing in Jesus Christ. Meaning, Sunday, coming to church has become a culture, not a true belief or faith. Another reason, people care more about the money than ever before. The money became most important thing in their life than ever before. I'm not saying that money is not important. Money is very important in our lives. We need money to live, right? I mean, is there any one of you here who does not worry about money ever? Like your parents are so rich. You know what? I'm going to shopping today. I'm going to Crystal Mall today. I'm going to buy this clothes. I don't need to worry about money. My parents are rich. Is there anybody here like that? Maybe, you know. But I'm not saying that money is not important, but money should not be the most important thing in our lives. What should be the most important thing in our lives? Yourself? Myself? How about God? We need to know what offering is and what it means when we say we give offering. The reason why offering is important because offering has been the basic yet the essential part of Christian belief. Back in the days when I was your age, we had this belief that if you are a true believer, if you are a true Christian, offering is a must. If you don't give an offering, oh, you're not a believer. You should repent. It has been like that for a very long time. But this has been done without proper teaching why we should give offering. So we all know that, you guys know that we should give offering every Sunday, right? All of you, I hope, give offering every Sunday, right? But let me ask you this question. How many of you know why you're giving offering? How many of us actually know the reason why we should give offering and tithing, 11조, on Sunday? Who knows? We don't know, right? Why? Why not? Because there has not been a proper teaching about offering. And for that reason, the idea about offering has been changed over time. When it was in the past, offering, it was an essential. If you're a believer, you must give offering. But now it's different. Now the idea is that, you know what? It's my money. And pastor should not say nothing about my money. This is my finance. This is my money. And pastor should not say what I should do with my money. Right? The idea about offering has been changed because there has not been the proper teaching about the offering. So, what is offering? What is 헌금? And why is it so important that we have a proper knowledge about 헌금 on Sunday? That will be the message for today. So, widow's offering is about the passage for today, right? Widow's offering. So, let me ask you this question before we begin. So, what is more important? Quality versus quantity. What do you think is most important? More important, quality versus quantity. Let me ask you this question. So, when you are giving or receiving a present, a gift from somebody, when your parents is giving you a birthday gift, which one would you rather have? Many gifts versus one good gift. Many gifts versus one good gift. Which one would you rather have? Quality gift versus quantity of gifts. Would you rather have one, MacBook Pro versus many of your friends give you a lot of gifts. Which one would you rather have? I'm not saying that like 5, 10 friends, because that's not comparison, okay? Would you rather have one MacBook per gift versus hundreds of your friends giving you gifts on your birthday? Oh, I don't have 100 friends. Okay, if you have that many friends, which one would you rather have? Think about today's passage for a second, okay? Widow. There are rich people, and there's a widow. Rich people have given a lot of money, good quantity of money, yet the widow gave all she could. From this picture, who did it better, the widow or rich man? Why widow? Why widow? Think about this for a second. If we're talking about Korean money for a second, rich man gave 1억 won. When widow gave 5천 won. Now, who's better? Believer. Who's better believer? 1억 won versus 5천 won. Who's better believer? What is offering, guys? What is offering? What is 헌금? What is the definition or idea of offering? Or how we should define offering? According to general idea or what people think about offering, here's the thing. Old Testament says, offering is about giving animals to God for many reasons. For example, when you have sinned against God, you give offering. When you give thanksgiving to God, you give offering. When you're asking for something to God, you give offering, right? That has been offering in the Old Testament. How about New Testament? In New Testament, offering has been part of religious activity, okay? Like this. You come to synagogue or you come to church, you come to court, and you give offering. Why? Because you're a religious person. Whether you're Pharisees, whether you're Jews, whether you're Samaritan, you give offering because you are, or you consider yourself a believer. In other words, the offering has been a religious activity. It's something that you must do if you're a believer. How about today? What is offering? For many of us think the offering is giving money to church so the church can function, right? And one of you or one of us have said to me, 목사님, this offering I'm giving is your 월급. Of course, that person was joking, but this is how we think normally, because when we give offering, we believe we are doing church a favor, because by offering all the money that we give to church, the church can function. And everything that church do, it needs money, it needs finances. So our offering is actually doing a favor to church, which makes sense, right? Because church cannot function without money, right? But let me ask you this question. Is that all? I mean, I'm not saying that it's not wrong, but is that the true idea about offering? Like for Old Testament, giving burnt offering, and New Testament, religious activities is true. And today, we believe offering is the only reason why the church can function. While it could be true, I must tell you guys that is not the true and the real purpose about what offering is. Think about today's passage for a second. Rich man and widow, they were at the same place. In other words, they were at the same city, and they were part of the same church in today's term, which means that they were part of the same culture. Why is it important? Think about this for a second. The offering culture in Korea and the offering culture in Japan are very different. Okay? Japan, they do not write sports, not all, but some churches, they do not write exactly the amount of offering you're giving. But Korea, you have to indicate how much offering you're giving. Like 주정헌금, I'm giving you 5만 원. That's a difference in culture. But today's passage, the widow and the rich man, they were at the same synagogue. They were at the same place, and they were giving offering. In other words, they were at the same culture. But how did they act? How did they give in today's passage? Very differently. Rich men or the rich people, according to New Testament standard, they were very religious. Why? Because they gave a lot. They gave a lot of money. From their offering, there was quantity, and also there was quality, because they gave a lot of money. And how people see their offering? Wow, he's doing a good job for the church. He's making a big donation. True, right? How about the widow? How much she gave? She gave very little. Verse 42 says, and a poor widow came and put in 2 small copper coins, which make a penny. Do you guys know what a penny is? Penny in America is 1전, 1 cent, okay? It's one small coin. Funny fact, interesting fact, it costs more to make penny than its quality. Okay? It takes more money to make single coin of penny, which is actually worth more than how much, less than how much it was worth. Okay? That's how much this widow gave. Widow gave such a small amount of money. Now, who did it better? Who is more religious person here? Rich people who gave a lot of money versus a widow who gave a little. What did Jesus say about this? Jesus said, you know what? Widow wins. Verse 43 says, Jesus said, truly, I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. What did Jesus say? I tell you, truly, this poor widow has put in more money, more into the treasury than all the others. Jesus is telling his disciples, you know what? Out of everybody who gave offering from this place, this widow has given the most. How is that possible? This is how Jesus explained in verse 44. They all gave out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all she had to live on. Let me ask you this question, mathematical question, okay? Mathematically, you have 10만 원 in your wallet, okay? You have 10만 원 in your wallet, and you gave 5만 원 out of your wallet. How much money have you given? And percentage-wise, 50%, right? Half of your money. While your friend had 1,000원 in his wallet, and he gave it all. What percentage did he give? 100%. Who gave more money? You did. You have made 50 times more offering than your friend did. But who gave more to Jesus? Your friend did. From today's passage, the rich people may have given more money in terms of quantity-wise. But to Jesus, the widow has given more, because this is what he said. She put in, out of her poverty, put in everything, all she had to live on. That money was all she had. That money was for her food. That money was for her clothing. That money was for her rent. But she gave it all to God. God, this is what true offering is. True offering is not about what you give, but it's about pleasing the Lord, pleasing Jesus Christ. The rich people gave quantity, but Jesus was unhappy. Because he could have done more, but he didn't. But the widow gave only little quantity. But yet, Jesus was happy about her offering. From that, they could see that the offering is more than just the money or the amount that we give. It's about the giver's heart. It's about the heart of the giver. Offering is not about how much we give. Offering is not about the money that we give, but it's actually about our heart. When we give offering, when we are giving hungam, when we are putting money into the basket, we're not just giving the money, but in fact, we are giving our heart. Because what matters the most is our heart. God never cares about how much we give, but He cares about how and why we give the offering. Let me repeat that one more time. The offering is not about how much, but it is about how and why we give offering. How is this? How we give offering is about that. How we prepare for the offering. Let me ask you one question. When do you guys prepare the offering for Sunday? When do you guys prepare the offering? I know some of you actually come to, your parents on Sunday, right before service, or some even during praise. Mom, 5만 동만. And what does your mom says? 이거. That's how we are prepared for offering, right? Guys, this is offering that we are giving to God. And yet, we are not prepared. And God cares about how we prepare the offering. How about why? Why is this? Why we are giving the offering? The reason why you're giving offering. Why do you guys make offering? Why do you guys give hungam every Sunday? Do you know the reason why you're giving offering on Sunday? Or do you think about the reason why you're giving offering on Sunday? Do you give because your parent told you so? Do you give because you're used to giving offering on Sunday? Or do you give offering because you actually worship and honor and love God? Do you think you're doing church a favor? Do you think you're actually giving my 월급 through your offering? Or do you give money or offering because you actually worship God? This is what God cares about. Why we are giving offering and how we prepare the offering. One good example, Cain and Abel, Genesis chapter 4. Cain and Abel, what happened? They both made offering, but God only accepted whose offering? Abel's offering. Why? Because he gave his heart out, while Cain just gave whatever he had. That's how God cares about the offering. How about another example? Anointing of David. What happened? When Samuel went to his dad, Samuel went out to find the next king after Saul has betrayed God. Samuel was looking at the candidates, how they look. Oh, he looks good. He looks tall. He looks handsome. You know what? He looks like a king. In Korean movie, 대사, 내가 왕이 될 상인가? Right? That's how Samuel looked. But what did God say about this? This is what God says. 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 7 says, "For the Lord sees not as man sees." Meaning there's a different standard. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. When we think about, how much we give, how the offering envelope looks so fancy, how our bill is so new, but God looks at our heart when we give offering. This is about how we give offering. This is about how we prepare the offering, and this is about why we are giving offering. The attitude of our heart as we give. This is the reason why the heart of the givers is the most important thing. When we give, we should give the offering with a willing heart. Exodus chapter 25 verse 2 says this, "From every man whose heart moves him, you shall receive the contribution for me." Let me explain this in easier terms. If you do not have a heart to give, don't even bother to give. If you want to give offering to God, then give. But if you don't want to, I will not accept it. Yes, we may give offering to God, but if we do not give with the heart in it, God's not going to be pleased with it. When we are giving offering with heart, we are giving everything to God. But when we are giving offering without the heart, we're just dropping some money in here. Guys, that's a big difference. That's a difference between believer and churchgoer. But we are not churchgoer. We're not churchcomers. We are believers. We are Christians. We're the children of God. We are God's true worshipers. And it begins with offering. Prepare it well. This is how we should give offering. First, prepare your heart first. Prepare your heart first. I make 11조 every time I make money. Okay? It's not something that I'm proud of because it's something that I should be doing anyway as a believer. Because Bible teaches to make 11조 every time. But here's the thing. When I make 11조, when I prepare my offering, I do not do it on Sunday morning, unless I forget. I do it as soon as I make money. Fortunately, God gave me this job at church, and it pays me well enough for two of us to live without any too much financial struggle. Okay, we're not rich, guys. Don't worry, we're not rich. We don't have money to give out every time. Okay, but God has blessed us with enough money. But here's the thing: when I prepare the offering, I prepare it as soon as I receive the money. Why? Because that's how I prepare the offering. Offering is showing how much we honor and respect God. Not money, but God. How God is important in my life. Okay? It is also confessing that the money is not my Lord. The money is not my master. Money is not my owner, but God is. Instead of preparing how much we are going to give, we must first prepare what we'll give to God, which is our heart. And for that reason, we must first prepare our heart, because we're not just giving little sum of money, but we're giving our heart so that we're confessing to God, God, you are the most important thing in my life, not the money. You are the Lord of my life, not the money. Second thing, how we should prepare our, offering. Prepare the gift to God. Let me explain an easy way, okay? When you are wrapping a gift for your boyfriend or girlfriend, how would you wrap it? When you buy a cloth, okay, for your friend, how would you wrap it? Do you just put it in like black plastic bag and just swing it around and throw it at your friend? Do you do that? Hyojun's like, oh, I think I do that. Okay? Let's say you have significant other, like boyfriend or girlfriend, okay? And it's your anniversary. And 100일. We're like, oh, 100일, finally, right? And your girlfriend or boyfriend expecting something big from you. And you bought a ring, couple ring, for your girlfriend, okay? Some of you are, oh, should I do that? Anyway, you buy it, and you put it in a ring case, and what do you do with it? Do you gift wrap it, or do you put it in a brown plastic bag and just throw it at your girlfriend? We wrap it, right? We wrap the box, and then we put that box into shopping bag, and we put inside the shopping, we put the paper thing, the string thingy to cover it up, and you put some flower or ribbon on the bag, and you give it to your girlfriend. You don't swing it because you know it's gonna mess it up. So you hold it like this, right? When you see your girlfriend, like, I love you. Guys, that's how we should prepare the offering. Prepare the gift to God. Not just anyone, but to God, the most high person or figure in our lives. Prepare it well. Don't just do that. Prepare your heart, with your heart, the gift to God. And third thing we should do when we prepare the offering, give your everything. Give your everything. I'm not saying that, just bring everything from your room and give it to the offering. No. When I say you should give your everything, think about the widow. Think about today's passage for a second. How she gave her everything. Giving everything is not about the quantity. But giving everything means you're confessing with the attitude, you know what? God, everything that I have belongs to you. You are more important than all these things that I give. Giving everything means that you're putting God first, above everything else. And that's how we should prepare our offering. When we do, prepare our heart first, prepare to give to God, and when we give everything to God, that is the offering that God will be pleased with, that He will be happy with. You're not wasting just money. You're giving something that God may be happy with. And that is the true life of a true Christian and true believer. So I want you guys to have different attitude and different idea about the offering. 헌금. Guys, remember, it's not about how much you give, but it's about how you give and why you give. So from next week, maybe not today, but next week, I hope and I pray that all of us will give everything to God as an offering when we prepare for Sunday. Prepare with your heart first, and prepare as if you're giving the gift to God, and prepare your everything to God, so we may give offering that He may be happy with. Let's pray.